And welcome to another Experts Speak podcast. I'm Michael DeLon, your host today. I am talking with, well, the one and only RJon Robbins. RJon, thanks for taking some time to be with me today.
Good to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're welcome, and you are welcome on my podcast anytime. You were actually here a few months ago when we were talking about your book, Profit First for Lawyers. If you missed that episode, be sure to go into our archives and find those. RJon is well, gosh, you're a master marketer. You've built multiple businesses. You run How to Manage a Small Law Firm. And by that, I mean you run it, meaning you're the guy on the top and you've equipped people with systems and things. And you help attorneys build a business that supports their life and helps them really achieve their dreams because a lot of attorneys and business owners are doing things the wrong way. And what you're here today to talk about, which I'm really excited about, is wow, another book, RJon. Congratulations on getting this one ready to go.
Thank you.
This is so you're launching a book. It's called Truth, Lies, Mistakes, and Bullshit. Which one's driving your business? And when I got that title, I just stopped in my tracks for just a second. I said, that sounds like an RJon title, and I've got to get into it. And what I realized really quickly, RJon, this is something I want to dive into. Is this book is a fable, right? You've written it in a story format,
It's a
unlike
business parable.
a parable, a fable, a parable.
Yeah.
Which is great because it really gets you into the story quickly. And I guess my question, because Profit First for Lawyers wasn't written that way, so why did you write it in this parable format?
I love business parables. I love stories. There were some concepts and ideas that I wanted to communicate and share with entrepreneurs that I just thought that the full frontal assault wasn't going to work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I've been on stages in front of tens of thousands of people for the past 2 decades now, doing the full frontal assault, challenging people's beliefs, challenging their assumptions, challenging how they're running their business to show them how they can run a better business and live a better life. And I just thought that the time had come to take a different approach and maybe try to slip some big ideas and some thought-provoking concepts and some life-changing new beliefs in the side door,
yeah,
put the pill in the cheese and feed it to your dog, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Not that the reader is a dog, but you get what I'm saying. We all tend to reject a new idea when it's first presented to us, but when we can see other people experiencing the reality of our choices and see how a new belief or a new way of thinking or a new approach can change the life of someone else, and we bear witness to it, sometimes it lets us see things in ourselves that we don't feel comfortable seeing looking in the
yeah,
mirror directly.
yeah. Boy, well said. I learned a quote years ago, and I wish I knew who said it so I could give them credit, but a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And that just plays into the parables. As a follower of Christ, man, you read the Bible, Jesus taught in parables a ton of stuff, right? Because they're memorable. And as I read your book, I came out of there, I feel like I know Harry, who's the kind of the main the main guy, and he
He's the
runs a
protagonist.
business. What's that?
Harry is every entrepreneur, man, woman,
Yes.
however you identify yourself, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You could have a multi-million dollar business. You could be just getting started. If you don't own a business at all, you might not relate to Harry, but I can't imagine an entrepreneur who's running their own business for a few years or more who isn't going to see themselves in that character.
Yeah, without question, without question. And the way that you wove I think one of the unique things about this book, and I can't wait for people to read it, is it's not just about Harry, but you actually play it in. You bring his wife into it and how she waits up for him and how they have conversations about the stress he's having and her belief in him, and all of that plays into how we run businesses. But not many people address that side of it. And I really appreciated when you put that in there. It's like, because business is more than just me. It really does affect my family, and I need my spouse to help me. But that's not the end of the day. I need more than that, right? So let's talk about Harry. So Harry runs a restaurant, and he got this restaurant really from his dad. His dad started it. Now he's running it. It's not going so well, and he meets this stranger in his restaurant one day, and the stranger is basically saying, "Hey, I can't wait to come back." And Harry's like, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to be here." And that begins the arc of the entire process. So unpack just a little bit to tease our audience of what's going on there, what are they going to learn in the book, and then I want to dive into two or three really good topics in the book that really apply to everybody in business.
Well, the title of the book is Truth, Lies, Mistakes, or Bullshit. What's driving your business? And I think that the biggest thing that a lot of entrepreneurs are gonna are gonna take from the book, and some people are gonna take it and do great things with it, and other people are gonna take it and probably reject the ideas until they're ready to hear the message, right?
100%. Yep.
And you can't force someone to hear a message till they're ready to hear the message. But what I'm hoping is that entrepreneurs will read the book and begin to recognize where bullshit is driving parts of their business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the old joke about the people who sit down to play a game of poker. And anyone, if you sit down to play a game of poker and you can't spot who the sucker is, the sucker is you,
You.
right? If you don't realize that you got some bullshit running parts of your business,
Yeah.
even a little part of your business, then you're a sucker,
Yeah.
right? I run multiple multi eight figure businesses. I run multiple multi seven figure businesses. And that doesn't count the 500 plus law firms that we help to manage across the country, ranging in revenues from $40 million down to brand new startups. Uh, and I've never seen a business, including any of my own, where there isn't some bullshit running part of the business. And
Yep.
wherever you got bullshit running part of your business, that's where you've got problems in your business. Put it another way, when I take a business apart and I find a problem, I can 99.9% trace that problem back to some bullshit driving that part of the business. To the extent you get the bullshit out of your business will run better. To the extent that you ignore the bullshit, it's gonna fester. It's gonna grow because bullshit brings on bullshit.
Yeah.
And then pretty much you got a whole business and a whole staff that's all running on bullshit, and you're on your way to bankruptcy or
Yeah.
misery
Or,
or
or
both.
misery. And one of the things that I think I've seen in business is not only do we ignore it, we start to embrace it and look at it as, well, that's reality. The economy is hard, or every
Bullshit.
business. I mean, it's all of that. The restaurant business, which Harry is in, is challenging. All of that. And at the end of the day, that's all bullshit, right? It's all in our heads. And how have we built a business to really drive our lifestyle? I learned that from Kennedy years ago, to build a business to support my lifestyle. And then when I launched my business, I read the E-Myth, right? Gerber, and how to build systems, and realized I needed systems and people and processes and all that. And that's all great.
Systems run successful businesses. Successful businesses cannot run on sweat alone. Sweat
Yeah.
is sweat is like maybe the fuel you use to jumpstart the business.
Right.
But if you don't put systems in place, systems in place, you're not going to have a business. You're just going to have a practice. So the degree to which the each of the seven main parts keeps going and ideally growing,
Yes.
even while you are away for at least 30 consecutive days with emergency access only.
Mm-hmm.
30 could be 60, could be 90. I'm away for at least 30 days with emergency access only. I'm away from all of my businesses for at least 30 consecutive days with emergency access only, several times a year. Not because I'm so much smarter than anyone, I'm not smarter than a lot of people. A lot of my employees are smarter than me. Not because I have the best education. A lot of my employees have better education than me.
That's right.
Not because I work harder. The systems work, right? And the point is, to the extent that any of the 7 main parts of your business is going to slow down or stop or grind to a halt or go off the rails completely while you're away, that's the degree to which what you have on your hands is a practice. It could be a fun practice. It could be a lucrative practice. It could be a very professionally rewarding and enjoyable practice. It could be a fun practice, but it's not a business. Now, I have a business and I also have a practice, right? My practice is it's perched on top of my business. 90%, 95% of my personal income, most of my personal income comes from a sustainable business that can keep going and keeps growing even while I'm away. That's why my practice is so much fun.
Yeah.
Right? If all you have is a practice and it stops working when you're not pouring sweat into it, number one, that's a scary way to go through life.
Yep.
Number two, I think that's a disrespectful way to go through life with regard to your family. Number three, it's not good for your clients. Number four, it's not good for your staff. And it's certainly not good for you. No one is better off because your lifestyle depends on a practice.
Yep.
Everyone is better off when your lifestyle is being funded by a sustainable, predictable, reliable business that keeps going and growing and going and growing and going and growing, even when you're away for 30 consecutive days with emergency access only. Because, spoiler alert, Michael,
Yeah.
I'm not Superman.
That's right.
No one's Superwoman. I get sick. I have to take time off. My family gets sick. I got to take time off. I got friends and family who have lives and emergencies and celebrations and things happen.
Yeah.
And for me to say to my clients, hey, listen, your case is going to be completely under control so long as my kid doesn't get sick. Everything's going to work just fine. Your job is safe. So long as nothing happens in my personal life that might distract me from the day-to-day operations of the business. Because if that happens, you're screwed and you
That's
got to
right.
go. I mean, but people don't think about this. People take pride in how much they suffered. They take pride in how much they sacrifice. They take pride in how much they can endure. People need to listen to the legend of John Henry. People need to read their history, right? The legend of John Henry. That song?
It's been a long time since I've heard that song. The name sounds familiar. Why don't you
It's
summarize it for me?
it's Paul Bunyan, John Henry versus the steam engine.
Okay.
Right? Paul Bunyan was inspired by John Henry. John Henry was a railroad worker who was this big strapping person who could drive a railroad spike
Yeah.
uh, better than anyone could. He could lay more track than any 10 men. And everyone looked up to him and everyone admired him and everyone wanted, oh, I want to be like John Henry, right? Because he's so big and he's so strong and he's so great and he's so wonderful. And then the steam engine came along and they organized a race, right? And
Mm.
John Henry beat the steam engine. He actually won. He won the race. Good for you, John Henry. You won the race. But then you know what? He literally dropped dead of a heart attack.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the steam engine just kept going and
Yep.
going and going and going and going. Who do you think your clients want to depend upon?
That's right. Yeah.
Your clients, now, your clients might not be educated. They might not be sophisticated. You may not bother to open their eyes and explain the difference to them. But I mean, if your whole marketing strategy depends on your clients to remain ignorant and not be educated consumers about the difference between a law practice versus a business,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just a shitty way for the owner of a law firm to go through life. It's out of
Absolutely.
integrity, and sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, it's way more profitable, way more enjoyable, way more fun, and you make a lot more professional, positive impact on the world. And you get to surround yourself with a much better staff of people who know that their job isn't dependent on you to be there every day. And I mean, look, you just kind of set me off, and I went off on a tangent because I see this happening. We manage over 500 law firms today, but for the past 20 years, I've worked with tens of thousands of lawyers, and it is nothing short of tragic. It's tragic.
Yeah.
It's tragic when you see these people and they wake up and they realize what their life could be today had they made a few, not even
Mhm.
many, a few different choices a decade ago.
Yeah.
And every one of us is hopefully going to wake up a decade from now. And as long as you're planning to wake up a decade from now, I just I want you to read this book and decide, do you want to wake up a decade from now grateful and happy and feeling proud of yourself for the decisions you made to give your future self a better life? I don't want you to wake up a decade from now with regrets.
Right. Yeah. And that's the pathway a lot of business owners are on because they don't understand that the phrase I use is what's going to happen, RJon, when the bus hits you and takes you out of this
The
life.
bus isn't going to hit me. The bus isn't going to hit me. The bus isn't going to hit me. La, 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 la,
That's
la,
right.
la, la. The bus is not going to hit me. I
That's
don't want
right.
to hear it.
That happens to other people.
That happens to other people, not me.
Yeah, that'd be called bullshit, right? It happens every day. And that's why you have to build your business on systems first. And then you get people to run those systems. And the idea of taking a month off, right? I can hear my listeners going, yeah, well, that's because you run 8-figure business. And no, it's not
No,
actually.
I get to take a month off. I run all these businesses because I put the systems. I was broke. I
How
call bullshit. Anyone in the audience who says, "Well, yeah, of course, RJon, you could do that," because bullshit. I lost my house to foreclosure. I was flat broke. I had no money. I had no credit. I had no rich friends and rich family helping me out. I had no political favors. I just started putting systems in place. One little crappy system helped me create the next little crappy system, helped me put together the next. When I look back at the original set of processes and systems and procedures that I put in place in the first place, it
yeah.
was it was it was embarrassing
Yeah, it's
how
laughable, I'm
it was
sure.
laughably, it was embarrassing how primitive it was back. I mean, I didn't have anyone like me. I didn't have an organization like How to Manage a Small Law Firm to shortcut the process for me. My point is, if I can do it, there's no one in your audience who's going to convince me that they can't do it too.
That's right.
And how effed up is it that there's probably someone listening to this right now, assuming they haven't turned off the recording. Sorry to drive off your audience. But there's probably someone in the audience right now, you know who you are now on the side of the prosecution, prosecuting yourself.
Yep.
And here I am defending your full potential and saying, no, you can do this too. And you're prosecuting yourself saying, no, I can't. Here's why I can't because of this from my background, and you don't understand. I can't because of this of my shortcomings, and you don't understand. I can't because of this of my personal limitations. And here I am saying, yes, you can, and I got proof, I mean, I dare anyone in your audience to come to one of our live quarterly meetings and leave and say, I can't do this too. Because you're
Yeah.
going to see men, you're going to see women, you're going to see people who don't identify with any gender, you're going to see gay, you're going to see straight, you're going to see black, white, Asian, Hispanic, tall, short, old, young. We even have a bunch of freaking left handed weirdos. And they're all doing this. the systems, the systems, the system. You put the system in place and let the system do what the system does.
Yes.
It's not going to happen instantly. It's not going to happen overnight, but let the system run and let the system run and manage the system and maintain the system and work on the system and maintain the system. It just like a car, you just maintain it.
It
It just works for you. It
yeah.
will work for anyone.
Yeah, it works for anyone. I remember one of my coaches years ago talked about systems always first, and he related it to IHOP, the pancake place.
Yeah.
And he said, "You see their billboards? It has a big picture of stacked pancakes." He's like, "That's systems. You build one, then you build another, then you build another, then you build another." He's like, "They all work together over time, but that's the idea of building a systematized business." And that's where growth and, dare I say, scale comes in. Because if you don't have systems, you are not scaling your business. You're going to kill yourself. And that's what I love about what you've put in this book, RJon, is the Harry, this restaurant owner guy, is just like he's just like me, he's just like you, he's just like everybody listening. He's got a business, but it's not running well for a lot of reasons. And through this book, I love how you take him to two or three different business owners who are in totally different categories. Because, oh, by the way, RJon, this won't work because I'm not an attorney.
I'm special. My business is different. My market is different. I'm different. I'm unique. I'm
Yeah.
a special snowflake. This will work for everyone else but it won't work for me because I'm so special.
Yeah. You've kind of heard that before, haven't you?
You know, it's look, my business, my how to manage a small law firm business. I have other businesses, but my how to manage a small law firm business is principally, it's actually really a personal development business.
Mm,
Right? We do personal development for entrepreneurs who happen to own law firms,
mm-hmm.
right? And part of the personal development we have to people part of the personal development we have to help people do is stop getting their self-esteem from how freaking special they are.
Yes.
Because you're not that special. You're not that unique. You're not that different. And neither am I,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
got two hands. I got five fingers on each hand. I got one head, two eyes, one nose, a mouth. I mean, I put on my pants one leg at a
One
time
leg
like
at a
everyone
time. Yeah.
else, right? I got crazy parents. I got messed up relationships with certain people in my family. I've got, I've got pets that pee on the rug sometimes. I'm like a normal
Person.
person who has created, quite candidly, an extraordinary life that I cherish and love to enjoy,
Yeah.
but I built it system by system by system by system by system. And step one is I had to stop getting my self esteem from telling myself how special I was.
Yeah.
Number one, how special I am. Like I could do this better than everyone else. Well, if I can do every part of my business better than everyone else, then my business is going to suck crap,
Yeah.
right? Because I am horrible at everything with technology.
Yes.
And if I'm going to do if I'm the best person at the technology, then my whole business, the thing that you're the worst at is going to be the weak link in your chain if your ego requires you to be the best at everything in your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Without a question. And
And it's going to be frustrating as all get out for you because if you are in fact brilliant and spectacular and amazing at X, whatever X is, and you're only really good at Y, and you're not very good at Z, and you're terrible at 1, 2, 3, well, then X, the thing that you have the potential to be the best at, you're never going to realize that full potential because it's always going to get held back
yep.
because you're trying to do Y and Z and 1, 2, and 3 yourself. And that is tragic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. I remember reading a John Maxwell book years ago talking about the Pareto principle, 80-20.
Yeah.
And he was the first guy who really made it clear for me. He's like, 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities if you actually focus your time, effort, energy, and money on that 20%. And what happens is business owners don't. We focus on 60 or 70 or 80% and wonder, why is it not working? The other myth are,
That's actually not how that whole thing works.
okay,
I don't mean to disagree with you.
explain it.
80% of the results you get in your business are coming from 20% of your activities.
Mm-hmm.
If your business is grossing $1 million a year, let's use a number, 80% of that $1 million is coming from 20% of your activity, which means that 80% of your activity is mostly a waste of time. And so one of the things that we do is we help people figure out what's the 20%, what's the 80%, and help you create, help you create systems
Yeah.
to get 80%. Well, okay, let me back up. I'll give
Okay.
you a lesson here. Ready?
Yep.
First thing we do is we identify, first thing to do, you don't have to work with us, you can do this yourself. First thing is look at everything you do, like literally account for everything you do. Look at your calendar for the last 90 days and look at everything you do for the last 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
right? And put it into 3 categories. This activity advanced my business. This business screwed up this activity pushed my business off of my goals. Or I'm just doing this because it's got to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely.
There's 3 main categories. It's not perfect, but it's good. All right. Then you look at all the things that are not directly advancing the business. And the first thing to think about, which most of the time is going to be tragic and horrifying and it's going to piss you off, and you might be really embarrassed about it when you first look at it, but don't be, because we've all been there, is do we even have to do it?
Yep.
Does this even need to get done? Before you start systematizing it, ask yourself, do we even need to do it at all? And I can't tell you how many times I've gone into businesses. I can't tell you how many times I've taken a fresh look at one of my businesses. And I look at something. I mean, it literally happened just on Friday where I looked at something and I saw that my team had developed this really cool new AI blah, blah, blah thing to systematize and automate this thing, this
Right.
activity going on in my business. And I was like, I mean, that's fascinating. The technology, the way you're using AI, it's amazing and all that. But it occurs to me, why do we even bother doing that? Who cares?
Right.
None of the clients care. None of the clients give a shit if we do this. Is there anyone internally within this organization who needs us to do this in order for them to do their job? Turns out there wasn't.
Nope.
So the only people who actually give a crap about whether this gets done are the people who have perfected the buggy whip.
Yep.
They've gotten really good at doing this thing that no one even cares about. And so it just becomes a self-perpetuating
Yeah.
system within the organization that's now been AI-ified. And now they've used AI to make the system even better and more efficient at doing something that no one cares about.
That doesn't need to be
Doesn't
done
add
in
any
the first
value to
place.
anyone.
That's right.
It's taken on a life of its own. So kill it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Because
That's the
heaven
first thing you
forbid.
do. That's the first thing you do
Okay.
when you figure out the 80 and the 20%. First, can you eliminate it
Okay.
completely? Second is, can you delegate it? Before you automate it, see if you can delegate it. And I know that's counterintuitive,
Mm,
right? Because you think, well, you automating it is more efficient than delegating it. Yeah, but delegating it is quicker.
absolutely.
Delegating is quicker. Delegating it is easier. And, once you've delegated it and you see the person who you've delegated it to doing it over and over and over again the same way and it works, then you automate it.
Yeah.
Instead, what people do is they skip over the delegation, they go straight to the automation, and they end up automating chaos.
Yeah.
Right? So eliminate it, then delegate it so you can test it, figure it out, tweak it, move it around. Then after you've got a human being to do it the way you want it done, consistently, predictably, reliably, a time or two,
Yeah.
then build the system and then try to automate it. The system,
Yeah.
by the way, doesn't require technology. A
That's
human
right.
being follows a series of steps consistently, predictably, reliable, time after time after time after time. That's a system.
Yeah.
It doesn't require technology to be a system.
Yeah. That's so good because I think so many people get hung up on that. But it can be literally a piece of paper. If you don't have a computer, it could be anything. But it's here's what here after a sales call, what do you do? Here are my 7 things that I do after every sales call. That's a system.
A checklist on a piece of paper is a system.
Yes, absolutely. And that's you mentioned something earlier. I want to go back to. By the way, thank you for that clarification because I think that right there just was the price of admission to listening to today's podcast. Is if our listeners will do exactly what you just said about the 80-20 thing, they're going to have those aha moments and they're going to be able to get back a lot of time. One of the myths that I've heard, and you mentioned it in the book, and I just want to bring it to the forefront because I think a lot of business owners are here, and it's a myth, right? It's a mistake. It's bullshit. My business is my baby. I can't. I've got to take care of it, and it's so precious to me. And in the book, you kind of blow that up and say, no, it's actually not your baby. You've got another name for a business. I want you to talk a little bit about that because it's a mindset that many business owners are because I built this from scratch. It's my baby.
Yeah. Um, your business isn't your baby. Your business is your mule. It's a much healthier, much more profitable, much more rational, much smarter analogy to model your relationship with your business after a farmer's relationship with a mule, not a parent's relationship with a child. When you
Yeah.
model your business after a parent's relationship with a child, it leads to tremendous dysfunction in the business.
Yes.
It's dysfunctional for the staff, it's dysfunctional for the clients, it's dysfunctional for the vendors, it's dysfunctional for you, the owner. It just brings in all kinds of dysfunction because parents live, we live for our children. We are willing to suffer for our children because we love them. We are
Mm-hmm.
willing to sacrifice for our children because we love them. We're willing to endure all kinds of shit for our children because we love them. And here's the main thing you got to hear me loud and clear on. All right?
Okay.
With no expectation of ROI.
Mm.
What kind of effed up parent looks at this precious little baby and says, I will invest in you because I'm going to get a good or return on my investment.
Mm-hmm.
I will love you and I will care for you and I will feed you and I will bathe you and I will house you and I will change your diapers and I will invest in your education because I want to get a profit from it.
Yep.
What kind of parent does that? That's
That.
crazy.
Yeah.
We invest in our children with no expectation of return on investment. That's what good parents do,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you model your relationship with your business after a parent child, you remove the profit incentive completely,
Mm.
which is unhealthy for the business.
Yes.
It removes honesty from the business relationship. When you take profit motive out of a business, you remove honesty from the business. And by the way, this is true for nonprofits too, because nonprofits, they make profit.
They do.
They just, instead of giving the profit to the shareholders, they give the profits, they reinvest the profits back into more services for the constituents of the nonprofit. But they have to make a profit. Otherwise, the nonprofit goes out of business too.
Right.
When you remove profit from the business equation, it brings dysfunction and lack of honesty. It introduces an element of dishonesty in the business itself.
Yeah. And that's a great segue because that is really as one of the turning points in the book. As I read this book, RJon, is there's a point where this stranger, this business consultant, looks at Harry. He's asking him kind of, why did you start your business? And Harry's giving him all these reasons. And the consultant guy looks at him and says, "You're a liar." And when I read that, I honestly I stopped. I'm like, what? I had to reread that sentence and went, did I miss something? Unpack that because that plays off of what you were just talking about right there. Why and how are business owners lying to themselves and others?
Well, bullshit is when you say something that might be true, it might not be true, but you haven't bothered to figure it out. You
Mm,
haven't bothered to investigate. You haven't bothered to analyze. You haven't bothered to test. You haven't bothered to evaluate. You're just saying things and doing things, and you don't know what's what.
yeah,
Um, a business owner who runs their business without looking at the financials is running their business based on bullshit because they don't know what's what.
that's right.
A business owner who's running a business without key performance indicators and metrics, and they're making decisions based on what they think, based on what they feel, based on what they want, based on what they've heard, they're running their business based on bullshit. A
Yep.
business owner who has limitations on things that they can't do in their business because of rules that they were given by someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone, but they've never put it to the test. They've never investigated it. They've never analyzed it. They're running their business based on bullshit. So, bullshit is when you don't know whether something's real or not. You just say it or you make your decisions based on it.
Mm-hmm.
A lie is when you say something that you know isn't true. You know it's not real. So when the stranger says to Harry that's bullshit, I mean sorry, when the stranger says to Harry that's a lie, what he says later is, or it might be bullshit, but either way it's not the truth.
Mm,
And the truth makes every part of a business better.
yeah.
The truth is like it's like a disinfectant for the business. It might upset you, it might piss you off, it might embarrass you, it might break your heart, but you got to know what's real because you can't make improvements in a business anywhere else other than in reality. See, the truth is reality. Reality is truth. All things that are real are true. All things that are true are only true because they are real. And the only place where we can make actual changes, the only place in which to make actual changes to a business is in reality. So if you're avoiding reality by hiding out in bullshit,
Yeah.
if you're avoiding reality by hiding out behind lies, it's like doing drugs. Drugs make you feel good in the moment, but it's an escape.
Right.
And after the drug wears off, you come
It
back
does.
and reality is still reality.
Yeah.
And so some people will do more drugs and then they escape and they come back and reality has gotten worse because inattention to their obligations and inattention to their business and their affairs tends to make them worse. And so they do more drugs. And so they escape for a while longer and it gets worse. And the reverse is also true,
Mm-hmm.
right? To the extent that you are can find the courage to take a courageous look at what's real in your business, what's real about your marketing, what's real about your intake and sales, what's real about your policies, your systems, your business's procedures, what's real about your staff's performance, their training, their buy-in to your mission, vision, values, even if they know do they even know what it is?
Right.
What's real about your staff's motivations? What's real about the physical plant of your business? What's real about the finances of your business? What's real about your goals and your motivations and your commitment to make the rest of this work to give you the kind of life you say you want? What's real? What's real? What's real? What's real when it comes to your marketing is going to tell us what to do to make your marketing better. What's real about your sales or your intake is going to tell us where and how to make the sales and the intake better. What's real about your staff's training and their motivations and their buy-in, that's what's going to tell us how to make the staff perform better. What's real about your financial control? Are you getting what I'm saying? You got to know what's real. And the problem is most people don't have the courage to look.
I think dude, that is so good because so many business owners they're hiding from it. They're not willing to dive into it, and they're basing everything on what somebody else is doing or what somebody else has told them success should look like. And that's all bullshit. It's not until you come to grips with, you know what, for me, here's what success is. It's working 4 days a week. It's doing this. It's putting my kids in private school. Whatever it is, that's what real is to me. Now let's build the business to support that instead of saying, well, I've got to be like RJon or I've got to be like Michael or I've got to be. No,
Yeah,
you've
don't
got
try
to
to be like
diagnose it.
me.
Don't.
You know, I think it was Dolly Parton who said this. I think someone said, "Don't you want to be the next whatever?" And she said, "No, I want to be the first me.
Amen on that. Boy,
Don't
that's that.
anyone try to be like me. I'm me.
Yeah.
Mike's Mike.
Yeah.
Be you. Be the first you there is. Be the
Absolutely.
best you there is."
Yeah. And that is what I talk about all the time with my clients in marketing is be people buy who you are more than what you do. Be you. And that's really as you read through this book that RJon has created, you're going to see yourself in Harry.
I
And
hope.
you're going to understand his plot in life and his journey because it's going to mirror yours in lots of ways. And you get to the end of the book when the question is posed again to Harry. He's like, do you know why you do what you do? And I love because of the setting and the background, and we'll let the readers figure it out. But he just looks at him and says, I do. And I think there are a lot of business owners, RJon, who don't. And the answer to that question is really the driving force behind everything else. And that comes from being truthful to yourself first. Is that fair? A fair summary?
Yeah, there's one thing you said earlier that I'd like to clarify though.
Okay.
You said people buy into you and why you do what you do first, right?
Mm-hmm.
As your business scales,
Mm-hmm.
the people who are going to be buying into you and why you do aren't the customers or the clients or the patients or the passengers or the diners or whatever you call them. The people who are going to be buying into why you do what you do is going to be your employees, your staff, and eventually just your team.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say eventually just your team, what I mean is that as the business grows and scales, right? I have between all of my businesses about 150 employees.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who, between all of his businesses, has over 3,000 employees. Um, I don't know the names of all of the employees of all of my businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I have people who get recruited and onboarded and trained and work in different parts of one of my businesses or another who they don't report to me. They don't report to anyone who does report to me, right? The entire time they work for my business, I may never get a chance to sit down and have a real meaningful conversation with them. I might never even get a chance to meet them.
All right.
And so for me to say, "Oh, you got to buy into me," I mean, that's unrealistic, and I think it's disrespectful to that employee to say they have to buy into me.
Right.
They have to buy into the mission of the organization.
Yes.
And the mission of the organization is, of course, a reflection of my values. And the mission of the organization is that those torches are carried by my leadership team, who do have to buy into me.
Right.
My leadership team has to buy into who I am and why I do what I do. And then it cascades out. I just want
That
to
makes
say
sense.
that
Yep.
because if a person thinks that everyone in the organizations, if a person thinks that all your clients have to buy into you, then you're going to make your marketing all about you, and your marketing is going to backfire because all the clients are going to say, I need to hire only you because the marketing was all about you, right? A lot of people think that, a lot of, we talk to a lot of people, we talk about how you can hire other people to handle intake. You can hire
Mm-hmm.
other people to handle sales. You can hire other people to handle the actual direct client work. And people are like, no, 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 all the clients come in, they all want to talk to me. Well, of course they do, because your marketing trains them to do that. But if your marketing shared a different message, then they wouldn't all come in just asking for you. And you wouldn't have that self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps
Right.
you trapped small.
Yeah. Yeah. That goes back to something we mentioned earlier, is getting the feeding from the business, going back to the parent-child thing, and saying, no, that's not how you create a good business. You've got to create it to run without you by creating systems, hiring people to run those systems, monitoring those systems, and making sure all of that is put together to serve you, to serve your family, to serve your clients, to serve your team. It all works when we have the right mindset around those areas that you listed out earlier in the podcast. And that's really, at the end of the day, RJon, what you're talking about in this new book that is launching. Do you know when it's coming out? Because it's not out yet. I got an advanced copy. I'm one of the few blessed people on earth who got to read this before it's actually published. Do you have a date yet of when this thing's going to be available for my audience?
August 4th of 2026.
August 4th of 2026. Excellent.
And before then, everyone, I'd love it if you'd go to the link that
Uh,
Michael, I hope you put
yep.
in the show notes. It's truth, lies, mistakes, or BS.com/.
Experts speak.
Expert speak.
Yep.
Thank you. And that way we know who to thank for your pre-purchase. Obviously,
Yeah.
thank Michael for that pre-purchase. So please use Michael's link.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
Look, here's the thing, Michael. I love my business. I do.
Yeah.
But I know my business doesn't love me.
There you go.
And that took a lot of work to get okay with.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Yeah.
And because it's real, it's true. And because it's true and real, it's more profitable when I make decisions based on that knowledge.
Yeah. Boy, that we need to take that last line right there and use that, because that is so good. I love my business, but my business doesn't love me, because I could sell my business and it would still function, right? And all of that. That is so good, because we've got to be the drivers of our business and not allow lies, mistakes, or bullshit to drive our business. We have to come to that truth. And through reading this book, RJon, I think you're going to help a lot of people really sit with the fact that they've been believing a lot of lies and making a lot of mistakes, but the time is now. You still have time. If you're breathing, you've got time to make a new decision and to make the future better than it is today. And it starts with one system. And you're going to help them figure that out. So I'm going to put that link in the show notes so my audience can go get onto the list, buy a copy before it actually comes out on August 4th, and then share it with your audience and those because every business owner I know, RJon, can benefit from reading your book. So thank you for writing it. Thank you for being on Experts Speak to share what your expertise is, but also share why it's so important for us to grab this book, to read it, and not just read it once. I think I've read it 2 or 3 times already, and I'm sure I'll read it some more. it's the truth that we need to come to grips with to have the lifestyle and business we really want. So, RJon Robbins, thank you, brother. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you do.
Thanks for coming to a visit to one of my live events. It was great to see you in person.
You're welcome.
And thank you for having me on the show again. And thank you for all you do. I appreciate it too.
Well, you're welcome, my friend. We will have you back again, and you don't have to write another book to come back on, but I know you're a big author, and I just want to share your expertise with my audience because I appreciate how crystal clear you are and how passionate you are to help entrepreneurs grow in their business, but have the life they really want and to escape that prison. So appreciate you, brother. Thanks for listening to Experts Speak. Tune in again next time for another great episode. Take care. God bless.
Bye bye. Thank you.